Your Excellency, it's good to be with you here today, the Governor of Cross River State.
Thank you.
You look good. You look nice. You look well.
Thank you very much.
And those
You too.
compliments are for my governor. Now, there are conversations that we must have. It's been 3 years and a couple of weeks after the 3 years anniversary. And I was very elated, when there were conversations in the hall, presentations. There were some sectors that caught my interest. But before we settle in for the nitty gritty, there's the pending question. Cross River State, we are not participants or partakers of the 13% derivation in terms of funding. So what we have is that our resources may not be as much. That is why I'm asking this question. You have projects of past administration. Let me start from the closest, your predecessor. We had the Kalachika, the garment factory, we had the toothpick in Ikori, Kala Farm, garment factory, the Obudu, the cargo airports, and of course they're quite a plethora of projects which were executed with state funds. But execution is one thing, having legacy projects is one thing, but the functionality as to how it impacts on the people, impacts on the economy, the sense of it all. Now that government is done and you are the governor, it's 3 years past. Usually every administration with their pseudonym or their slogan and legacy projects, cutting of ribbons. Now, you've come, Your Excellency. I know you have areas of concern, but I am interested in knowing as to the degree that you will intervene in the projects that have Cross River State funding tied down because we've not made sense of it. Continuum. Government is a continuum. That's the simple crux of the matter. What are you doing in this regard? Maybe out of modesty, we don't know as much, but it is important that the people know that is something going on in this direction. Would we ever make sense of these things, Your Excellency?
Yes, thank you very much, Donna Mary, for this question. Like you have said, I think 3 years has come and gone just like that.
Yeah.
I believe that the days are rolling very quick now. When we came into government, actually, we came with certain thematic areas which we wanted to go by. Some of them would have particularly carry what I would call legacy projects and so on and so forth. But those things are really dreams when you're outside. When you come in and face the stark reality, you then know that it's a bit different. When we came into government, I discovered that when I look at the plethora of uncompleted projects and some of the things that needed just some support to make sure they come alive, and then I look at the quantum of public funds that has been invested in all the things, we had to change because it became clear that for Cross Riverians to actually enjoy and get benefit for the public funds probably over the years, that there's need to get those projects alive. There come a time which governance transcends routine administration or direction and actually enters into the what I would call the realm of historical significance. It became very clear that if we abandon these projects, we're going to have just carcasses all the place. And we immediately started because our government is the people's government, and restoration was at the center of our focus.
Yes, sir.
First of all, to bring our government to peace, we need to restore all public buildings to get the aesthetics and the needed environment for proper governance to function. And after doing that, we look at all those projects which I've mentioned. We went into them one after the other. Let me start. The Obudu Cargo Airport, we've gone quite far. I believe that probably before the end of this year, we should be able to land in that airport. We are putting proper investments there. Kali Farm, we are just waiting for commissioning. The garment factory you've mentioned, I don't know whether you've been there recently. It's not my garment factory.
No, I haven't been there recently.
Oh yes, we've turned it to something as in fact, if you go there, you wonder where you are because it's a completely different scenery. It's also waiting for commissioning.
Okay, so what's going to be the functionality? Is it still a garment factory, still producing clothing and textiles?
No, we've discovered that if you want to look at the economy of scale, because actually it was clear that it wasn't really adding much both in terms of GDP or in terms of employment, in terms of things that were needed. We've changed it. It's actually what I would call the first mosquito producing factory in the whole of Africa. As a matter of fact, we have a contract of over about $80 million already on the facility. And it's the first of its kind.
Mosquito producing factory.
Yes.
No, I'm going to be there.
Yeah. No, please, anytime you reach there, go there.
Okay.
It's a completely different environment. We've also injected Kali Farm, like I say, is waiting for commissioning. The Kalachika, we discovered that we had to do a certain restructuring so that it would be able to match actually the value chain which we're doing, because the production initially was at about 25,000 and the capacity was at that. It's difficult to get that. We have to start from somewhere to get to somewhere. So we had to restructure the machine because we needed capital and other things to make sure that it gets working. That also now is ready and is waiting for commissioning. Other ones which like the rice, the Goja rice mill, which we had some technical issues, and then the concession issues, which we and the concessionaires are still discussing to see how to actually strike a balance so that we can get that particular plant to full capacity. And then other ones which you've mentioned have very serious technical issues, and vandalization too, which we are trying to see how to calibrate and get them up and coming. But we've done a lot in terms of just that, not just what the former administration led, but from inception of democracy up to date, and even ones that predates this particular term of democracy. We've touched all of it. Like when we came in, Krell, the rubber estate was almost gone completely. We had to enter there and look at it. Today, if you go to Krell, it's a different environment. It's a different facility entirely. There were over 600 people employed in that place. Before then, it was just 3. Today, there are well over 600 employed because we've added some investments and there's a total rejuvenation of the place. We had to take it from the former concessionaires who had asset stripped the facility, and it was totally down. But today we've revitalized it. It is working and ongoing. And some other farms like that, like the Sadop and all the other rest we've started completely new management, new arrangements and everything. All of them are up and going, and they've employed quite a lot if you go. And our policy in terms of agri, particularly the farm settlements, has been to bring the local content to actually participate heavily and be part stakeholders in whatever we do. So beyond that, we've set up quite a lot of farms that were established by Opara in those days. Yeah, we've actually rejuvenated all of them. And then the other facilities that were almost, we lost Tinapa completely. And Cross River investment in Tinapa is quite huge. Over $400 million in Tinapa and Ubuntu, the other facilities that we have there. So it became clear, if we abandon this is gone forever. And the buildings cannot just continue to lie there as carcass. We decided to go into negotiation, though very tedious and tough, but we were able to get Tinapa back. And I believe that before the end of this year, you'll see a completely different Tinapa, because we do have a proper database in one of the emporiums that is ongoing. We are working on the plans, generating plants which Cross River State actually is going to come alive, because we have to take gas somewhere to bring it there. We'll be waiting for commissioning very, very soon. And we have an anchor tenant who is coming to Tinapa, and Tinapa is going to be alive again. We're going to build, there's a jetty that's going to be built there to make sure that the local populace are encouraged to also do whatever kind of business they're doing. So we've had a touch. We had to abandon or jettison the idea of legacy project for now, because there's huge need for whatever resources we have. And you know that if you watch the publication all the time, At the end of every publication, we are second on the last. Our resources were taken away, and most of the investments that were done were contracted on the level of those revenue streams that were about to come. Those revenue streams did not come again. So this kind of made the economy so lopsided that some of those projects could not really move ahead at the pace that they were supposed to be. But we've taken the challenge and say, look, for legacy projects, maybe second term we can look at it, because that would be a proper luxury. For now, we have to conclude everything that is on ground to give value to cross-invariants and the people. And to some extent, we've gone quite far. We've done quite well in that area. There were secretariats that were built just halfway and only the blocks were there today, like the Local Government Service Commission and the rest. If you go, they're all modern, contemporary buildings that we've moved all these government offices and so on into them. And we're doing even more to make sure that all government functionaries, the civil servants, are actually where they are supposed to be, so that there can be that job satisfaction and there can be some containment in terms of at least rekindling their morale and everything to produce more, to give more to the states.
Fantastic. While we were speaking, one thing that caught my attention is agriculture. You know that we are naturally endowed when it comes to, we are an agrarian people, but you see a lot of countries of the world have their GDP, their economies anchored on agriculture. So we have the natural blessing to become really an agrarian economy. Like recently, the commissioner of agriculture posted something which caught my attention, that the local government chairman should take advantage of Arabica and Robusta coffee, that Cross River State can do well in coffee production, which I have ascertained. And of course, you see countries like Brazil, this is what Brazil is known for, coffee. So if we can in Cross River State, but then again, one of the areas of concern that I have is the process, creating a processing hub, that we not only produce this, we not only grow, I beg your pardon, these agricultural products, but we can process a processing hub that is really easy. I think that agriculture is one of the strong, we have cash crops. So, Your Excellency, I know that after cleaning up, do you have, I know there's work going on, consideration when it comes to advancing also when it comes to agriculture, like production hubs here and there. I know that the last administration tried to do it, cocoa producing. We have cocoa, second best or second finest if we are not number one now. I'm not trying to be braggadocious though, but
no, we are number one.
We are number one. You see, I'm not exaggerating. But then again, making sense of it all, we have in terms of quality, we are blessed by that. But production, skill, and be giving, what's the projection? Do you have something? Are you passionate in that regard about agriculture and Cross River State?
Yes, Diana. Actually, when I said that, after looking at things from ground very well, it became clear that we have to enter the historical significances. Agriculture is part of it, because we discovered that even before the advent of oil and all these other things we've seen, that agriculture was our main cornerstone for sustenance. So we decided to go deep into agriculture. And we discovered that the last time agric was really touched was actually during the days of Bara. And almost all the farm settlements were settlements that were put together at that time, 30-something years ago. So we decided that, well, anything we have to do here to have meaning must be revolutionary in a way that agric is very competitive now. All the value chains are very, very important. And we started first by soil mapping. We've digitized our soil completely, that we know what can grow where with proper advantage and location. And apart from that, you can stay anywhere in the world to assess your farm or to test your soil or to know whatever it is you're getting into. When we finished that, we then went into looking at how to set up pilot farms. We have what is called an agro-processing zone, which is basically to set up facilities that are actually going to take this from that raw stage to probably a finished product or a semi-finished product, which put aggregates together and then probably export it, because it's been very, very clear that we have a lot. And also discover that most of our farmers were not benefiting from their yields, because people come from somewhere and give them some small poultry and then take away their whole toil for the whole period for pittance, and so on and so forth. So we set up different structures. Right now we have an agri policy in place. We have for cocoa, we have for coffee, the coffee you mentioned, we have for palm, we have for cassava, we have for almost all the key crops that Cross River State is of serious advantage. Cassava, we're about number 1 in the world. We are doing our best, even though we are struggling with certain entities or certain other regimes that want to see if they can overtake us. But what we've put in place, we are still going to maintain our position and even do more, because we are now introducing what I will call adding value to all the things that we are doing. The first step we had to do was set up something that will allow, because of your position as the People First government, we must carry people along in whatever we are going to do. So we introduced something called Project Grow. I think today Project Grow, the World Bank has even taken it up, because they came to see a model and check everything, and they said this is the best. And they're taking it up, which they are going to export to different regimes or different entities, and so on and so forth. So we set that up to make sure that all our local farmers are taken care of, because we come, we prepare the land. Land preparation is one of the most difficult when it comes to actually planting or growing some of these crops. So we prepare the land for them. We parcellate the lands, probably 3 hectares, and so on and so forth. And what we're able to use, we're able to get from Project Grow, surprise even the flour mills that has been there for years. They used to go to Taraba, used to go to other places too. Today we have something, we have a project which is taking care of all that in terms of like we did for soya beans this time. So we've set up pilot farms in almost all these crops that I mentioned, all these other items, like even the Arabica coffee and all the other things. We've done pilot farms. We've set up our research agencies, because it's clear, for you to do well in agri, you must have proper research centers. So in partnership with the federal research centers, which the federal government have set up, and of course the one that the United Nations and the rest have set up to help us, we are all in partnerships with all those organizations to make sure that we produce seeds that will somehow, at least, because it's very clear, because of climate conditions now and because of what I would call the different soil textures and so on and so forth, to take something that will match, to create something that will match our own patterns here with the best yield. And to a large extent, we've done that. Almost all our pilot farms are very, very successful. You can have the Commissioner of Agric in a program. He will be able to give. He will be able to give you the details of what we've done in Agric. Agric, actually, we are still looking at it as is going to be the mainstay of the economy, because the Agric that we have set up is such that we'll be able to complement our deep sea port in terms of when vessels come in, they do have things to go out. It's the same thing we're also doing with the mineral sector, to make sure that when the vessels comes in, anytime the vessel comes in, we'll be also able to have things to fill the vessel before they actually leave our ports. So agri still remains the mainstay and our main focus. And we've done a lot. And don't forget, it was foundational. Things that you start from foundation are not very easy. But we got it right, because if you ask most of our development partners, if you ask most of the banks, if you ask most of the farmers, they will tell you that things have actually changed. For now, if you really want to talk about it, we are full sufficient. Except that maybe probably inflation and other things which we're trying to work in our state has not brought it to balance. But by the time we sort out transportation, by the time we sort out other things, I think we'll be okay. But in terms of what I would say, agri extension workers and the support from the federal government of Bola Tinubu has been massive and has given us quite a quantum leap from what we're doing. We know that in the next 2-3 years, Crossing State will be quite different.
I like the fact that you're giving me projections, 2-3 years, but this conversation will proceed to, if I'm not mistaken, Johnson and Bebo, we're going to have a conversation because we get to the nitty gritty and the details. You mentioned it, all of us know this is the mantra, the people first government. There are two areas that people have spoken about quite loudly, and I said I was going to bring it up. Two, one happens to be Unicross and the other happens to be gratuities. Let's start with Unicross. What's going on with Unicross?
Yes, Unicross, there's been a lot of issues there, not caused by this government, but by the former government, both in terms of remuneration, in terms of employment, and so on. So that's a ratio actually in every high institution of learning, which you have to take in terms of teaching and non-teaching staff. The one of Unicross is quite very, very unhealthy. You see that there are a lot of people that are doing absolutely nothing. And their unions are so active in demanding things that are totally unreasonable. Some things they're already enjoying, they try to bring it to the. In any case, I've set up, because since the new VC came in, things are beginning to change the institution. They won an international award in UK about some inventions of creations. We've tried to make sure that we change remunerations and so on and so forth to at least give them the confidence to believe that it's going to be better. We're trying to plant some things on campuses in terms of proudly and so on and so forth. The multi-campus system is so expensive to run, because it's like replicating most of the things. If you have all the scaffolds, you also replicate in the other campus. Well, actually, if all of them were together, it would have been quite easy. But because of politics and other things that are involved, there are very sensitive issues which you have to carry. But things that are not necessary are not necessary. And there's need for every cross review, not just Unicross, to understand that we are passing or negotiating a ban. But that at the end of the tunnel, the light. And it's not only the university that's the main priority of federal government. We do have products that must even come to take positions in the university to come to the students. They have to be properly prepared. So these pedagogic education will be practiced now needs us to start right from the infant primaries and so on and so forth. And there were a lot of things abandoned over the years. We are facing Herculean tasks, serious challenges, and whether we like it or not, at that level, that's the foundation. If they miss it at that level, they lost it. So we are trying seriously to make sure that we start at that foundation, to begin to build at that foundation. And that on its own cannot be done in one day, because of the number of schools that we have all over the place and everything. So we are trying our best to see how to get these things right and started. We've also seen we do have problems here, both in terms of lack of economic capacity for most of the parents to be able to cater for education, because education for us, the regional orientation was a lot of things were free. Now it's become clear, because of the Americans to the population now, that government alone cannot handle education. The parents have to come in. In other climes, they pay very heavy fees, and so on. Our people are ready to pay those fees when it is out of the country. But here, people are not ready. So the government must not just sleep. The team must try our best to raise the standard so that we have kids who also come up from those kids and from these schools to attend any height or any level. without any inferiority complex at all. So in the middle, we do have issues of parents being able to pay exam fees and other things, which we discover a lot of bright students come on, but the fee to pay for examination becomes a problem. So we say, okay, since this looks like a problem, because we looked at the fallouts when they get to that level. We looked at the fallouts and said, look, this is really affecting people who are moving, and mostly some bright students. We decided to take it over completely. So look, if it is that, we'll be paying the exam fees. No problem at all. So that also takes a chunk to begin to build, because all those things have been dislocated over the years. We can't get it in one day. It's something that we have to do bit by bit. Teacher training is something else that is going to go up a lot. We are restructuring and seeing how teachers can be trained. And it's become clear that we cannot take them when the schools are on. Because when you do, then you find that we don't have a backup actually to fill the gaps. So we're looking at probably during holidays to begin to train and retrain these teachers. But like you said, gratuity, we have a problem, which is also involved with what we are talking about. Technology is trying to improve some of those things, quite all right. But like I said, it will also take time. We've discovered that because in our schools today, I think we have over 3,000 and something teachers. But to go to the physical school, where you are paying 59 teachers, you hardly can find 10. So it becomes a problem. This gratuity, when I came in, I couldn't reconcile the fact that people who toil for 30-something years will leave work and be going to cry at home. In fact, actually, their gratuities, even pensions, had issues. When I came, even though I discovered that there were many ghosts, I just said we have to start from somewhere. Let that be a sacrifice, sort of. But we have to start from somewhere and see how we can move this. Because before I came in, I think no gratuity, nothing has been paid since 2012 or thereabout. Quite a long period, decades. So I decided to say, okay, let us start those payments and then be working to take out some of the schools too. I think as of today, we've taken up about 3,000 or 4,000. But we still have thousands in the system who are not doing anything but are denying the innocent people who have toiled for the state to be or to even get to where it is today. So we are still doing the safety. We are still making sure that we sanitize the different payrolls and so on and so forth. It's a daily affair. One had already paid 10 billion. What is remaining is not up to that again. But we want to make sure that we pay to the right people.
So yes. You're sanitizing the payroll first.
Correct.
So that the actual beneficiaries should benefit off of that.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And you've also mentioned that Unicross, there's hope that the university students are going to, make the most of it and get back.
No, they'll go back very
soon.
Very soon. I've set up actually a committee to look at all the situations that are involved there, because there are too many tendencies playing up. Some people are just playing politics, some people are playing truancy, some people just want to cause problem for problem's sake.
So we have a problem within the system.
We do
itself.
Have a proper structural problem.
A problem that is not just the government's problem, a problem that requires that key players, stakeholders live up to expectations, are responsible and come clean to ensure that the system is not just sanitized but works. We need a functional system. It's one thing for the kids to go to school and it's another thing for us to do it right. So let's get it right. So everybody who is a stakeholder in the system when it comes to Unicross, please, let's sit at the table with government and get it done and get it right. So let's go a little bit to healthcare now. Let's go to healthcare. It seems recently I saw the Commissioner for Health trying to do some inspections, but I didn't follow through. What's the situation of healthcare in Cross River State at the moment? You may have met it somewhere, but what is your administration's drive when it comes to healthcare?
Yes. Coming in, we also discover that we have an emergency in terms of healthcare. That state of emergency in terms of healthcare is particularly important because it's about life. And we immediately started by addressing the very serious ones. The very serious ones we discovered is that we have bad roads in Cross River, which we are trying to also make sure we mobilize to straighten them out. And that when people are sick, probably in fact in our wards, in our local government, it's different. It's very difficult before they are able to be transported to hospitals here. Most of them give up on the way. And we decided that, look, I think the first point of call will be actually the primary health care, where the people can be given proper attention a little bit, stabilize them before moving them to other tertiary hospitals and other ones. So in that area, we've gone quite far. I think we've refurbished or built new ones in almost all the wards of the state.
All the wards?
Yeah, almost all the wards we've done. What is remaining, I'm sure it's not up to 10%, 50%. But if you go, install solar lights, we've made sure that there can be adequate medical attention, at least to stabilize them and make sure that they are okay before moving up. And we've also tried to make sure that the distances are not too long. We have discovered that a place like Ikom happens to be in the center of the Central Senatorial District. And there'll be no need to take somebody who is probably sick from Boki or from somewhere and begin to run to Calabar. That if we have a proper medical facility in Ikom, at least it will cut. North? Yes, it will cut the journey. We do have something in the north,
okay, the central,
which we yes, the central. So we decided to immediately build one, and I believe that we've gone quite far with that project, and we're expecting the equipment to come into the country anytime from now. As soon as they come in, we'll have a standard hospital there, which will attain to the people. But we know that there are hospitals in each local government, which were set up by administrations before us. And our main target now has been to refurbish those ones that we're able to refurbish or build from scratch those ones that are upcoming, because every local government deserves actually a proper facility that can cater for people, both in terms of surgery and prescriptions and otherwise. The other thing we did to make sure we take these services to the people is Cross River State is very huge. And at times it becomes a problem or an emergency to get the needed drugs to the particular location which is needed. So we partnered with Zipline. Zipline is a drone flying company that can fly the drugs to anywhere at all within Cross River State. So if a prescription is done in the space of 5-10 minutes, you call the facility. As you call the facility, before you know it, the drone drops your medications right there.
Have you done a test run on that?
Too many. It's been on for over 3 years now. Very functional.
Really?
Very functional. When you go be sick in your ward and call for...
No, I will not be sick. The sick will,
you will not.
The sick will need it and they will get it. Okay, that sounds good. That we have, we are working on the healthcare centers in every ward. So every ward has a healthcare center.
And also the personnel.
And the personnel, which is important, because I was going to get there. So our projection is that in the shortest possible time, equipment and all that will be flown in. So you'll be properly equipped to serve the people. Okay. So now let's go to roads. The roads. We've touched agriculture, we've touched healthcare, and we've spoken even in education, because we need the connection between the people. Either we want to move our cash crops, we want to move our food crops, we want to service, different areas. So when we talk about roads, sometimes when we have the roads around the metropolis, maintaining them and starting off new one. But looking at, you said Cross River State is flat. Let's talk about roads. It seems that your administration has paid attention when it comes to roads. At least I've seen that moving on there. So tell us about the road development and, in the state, the road network in the state, and how it spans from the north to the south of Cross River State.
Yes, actually, one of our main cardinal items was roads. it's been very clear that if you don't have roads, you don't have an economy. Let nobody listen. And we have invested a lot in roads. There's no local government that we have not made sure, or we have not intervened to make sure we connect both the intra and the inter, to make sure that even where we have products, they're able to bring them to the centers where they are needed to avoid perishable items and all the other ones. So in terms of roads, majorly, we've done a lot, and we still will continue to do, because that leads me to transportation. It's become an average cross civilian is spending almost 60 or 65% of his or her money on just transport. Before now, there were very bad roads, but those roads are improving. But when you look at the cost it would take for somebody to travel from Calabar to Obudu or Calabar, it's absurd, totally. It's completely out of reckoning. So the federal government is trying its own best. We are also trying our own best to make sure that we are able to link these major cities and we're able to do rural routes. The other day, I was going for an inspection because it became very clear that the flood is coming down in real buckets. It's something that is a little bit disturbing. But that's climate change, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Initially, we had thought it's something that will come and go away, but it looks like it has come to stay. That the flood is everywhere, particularly to those, yes, quite a global issue. So we decided to look at this challenge, that look, there has to be a way of containing this, particularly our lowlands and some other pockets of vulnerable areas, which are there, to make sure that at least, even if it rains for even hours, the waters, the rivers, is at least taken out of the same to allow people to be able to pass. So we've also discovered that that particular this is coming at a huge price, that we have to extend our bridges, we have to expand our culverts, we have to extend. It's quite capital intensive, but we are looking at holistically to make sure that we are able to have one that we can say, yes, this is what will serve us, this is what will be good for the people. To make sure that particular one is done, then we are okay. But in terms of road, we've gone quite far, and the people are feeling the impact. Yeah. And they know to some extent we've achieved in that area. The only thing that we've been doing, we are in partnership with some researchers, both at home and abroad, to see what type of chemical we can use that can endure rain. Because when the rain comes, even if the top asphalt is nylon, they begin to get to the pavement, they begin to get down, they begin to get down and begin to seep in. And then, yes, at the end of the day, the lifespan of the roads is shortened, which is not so. We are beginning to, we have some partners in South Africa, we have some elsewhere. We've been, the old Ministry of Works here, we've set up a lab, we're changing ideas. They brought some few things which we'll also try to lay them on to see if they can survive the test of time. We also have orders for local roads, which we might not need to put asphalt. We just pour it on the local road. It will hold it firm for quite some time. So in those areas, we are moving. And we're doing well.
Your Excellency, you took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to say, His Excellency cannot be everywhere, inspecting all the projects, but be sure to tell the foot soldiers that, look, quality. So you've said it now that, look, we are trying to improve the situation of these roads, that it will stand the test of time, serve the people over a period of time. So I'm happy about the partnerships. I like that part. It seems your administration is doing a lot of valid partnerships in terms of delivering value.
Yes, we do.
Trying to meet up with global standards and standards that will serve the people over time. That is my take home. Then aviation, you seem to have done, aviation. Right now, I comfortably fly Cali Air. I know of Madeira. I know of Linda Yade. All the planes are putting women up, and we're going to have more. So talk to us a little bit about, your enthusiasm, your gusto when it comes to aviation. I see that there's, now there was a time when I had to stand in line to get to Calabar. I will have to choose the day because the flights were really nothing to write home about. But now, it's easy. So tell us a little bit about aviation.
Yes, in terms of aviation, because of our location, as an evacuation corridor. We've been, if you look at all even the federal government development plans and so on, you will see that we are positioned as, our position is that of evacuation. And this government, we've tried to align with that. That's why you see the President Ahmed Tinubu's Calabar, yes, Lagos Coastal will be important. That trade route, that straight things have been there for over 600 years. And the renewed hope has come to strengthen that, to show that there's this historical collaboration to revive that trade and commerce that has been on that road even before the Europeans came. Now, aviation, we had very serious issues. And any state capital that you're going to have guest visitors coming and don't know when to go, it's a big problem. Because the private sector is a very hot one into this world. Things are changing every day. Yeah. Things are moving at a speed that you also have to move with it. So no chief executive will come to stay in your state, and then they keep cancelling flights every minute. The flight is cancelled. They continue. So they miss many other important engagements which they would have wanted to probably go to. So we decided that, well, as an evacuation corridor, the fact that we are at the mouth of the Gulf of Guinea, and with pressures from Equatorial Guinea, Cameroon, Gabon, right down to, in fact, to Satune, we're having some pressures to set up a proper commerce and transport route, which is through aviation. And we now decided to take that bold step. Governor Edet had brought in 2 aircrafts. So we decided to bring in, I think today we have about altogether 6 aircrafts, because the other ones we need to pass some regulatory tests before they begin to fly. We have Linda Ayade, Excellency Linda Ayade, as a latest bed that we've acquired, and I know that some 3 more are coming in addition to that for us to be able to actually bill our AOC or get our AOC license so that we can run these things on our own. But we know that this is going to improve our economy. It will allow our people the freedom to go in and out of the state and so on. You'll agree with me that before then, coming to the state was a nightmare.
I agree with you. I corroborate that.
And even the aircraft that were saving us, they cancel at will. Yeah. Anytime they have some issues, is all that. But now they themselves are trying to be very prompt because there's competition, and they are trying to also meet up. So in aviation, we've gone quite far. As a matter of fact, we're going to be in the West African region. We're going to be called one of the foremost airlines for people to actually believe in. And that is Cali. So we are really very pleased.
Yes. Well done, Your Excellency. So that takes on, because from aviation, it also helps our tourism thrive.
Oh, now, yes,
our tourism thrives. So now, in the area of tourism, before we wrap up with the final question, in the area of tourism, we have the Calabar. By the way, my condolences, Your Excellency. You lost one of your tourism soldiers.
Oh, yes.
My condolences.
Very pathetic.
Very hardworking man.
Very
when
sad.
he comes,
Very
one
sad.
of the frontline names in tourism in Cross River State.
Very sad.
My condolences again.
Thank you.
We look at tourism from Carnival Calabar visitors. The brand has outlived a lot of stress and is still standing. Carnival Calabar has come to have a life of its own. The people love the carnival within Cross River State, outside of Cross River State. We attract a lot of visitors. And I must commend you. This I'm saying not to be patronizing, but to be very realistic, that the carnival came with a lot of shine, satin and feathers when your administration came on board. I served in Ekiti State. I didn't want to go to any other state after my NYC because of carnival, because of tourism. I mean, it was the hottest thing at the time. So for bringing it back and spicing things up, thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
So now in tourism, we have the carnival. We look at Obudu, a strategic location in our tourism and all of what we represent. And then we look at the stretch. You've spoken about roads that we're going to do that. We have to link all of this. We look at the fact that you're attending to the cargo airport in Obudu. So you see, this will boost what we have. Is there yes? So is there yes? So tourism is so I'm looking at projections. When I want to see, so in the next, by the grace of God, when you win the elections and continue government,
Thank you.
The projections will be by the second administration, we begin to see bigger pictures begin to manifest, bigger things, and the story is really a grand one. So we're hoping that that works very well. Now, quickly, there's something that is of concern. In terms of housing, opening up the city, Cross River States. There was a time we didn't have an do we call it E1, E2, E3? We didn't have that stretch. There was a time Ecorinum is a product of expanding the city.
Correct.
You go to the Tinapa Act, it's expanding the city. But you see, is this administration opening up any? Because that we need to project that we are building different cities. Personally, I said, this is an opinion. You can choose to agree or not to, or disagree with me. I said that the houses that were built in the Cross River State Water Board, if all of them were put in a particular stretch, developed, and it would have created a fine city within the city. It would have been something of envy. Development would have come. So is this administration planning in any way, to stretch the city, to open up other areas, put roads somewhere so that people can build around there? Is that in view? Is that a concern?
Yes, that's so much in view. We are going to create some 2 new cities around Calabar.
Okay.
In between the outskirts of Calabar, Udukwani, and Akampa, we have a new plan because it's very clear that Calabar is becoming a little bit congested. We have a new plan, and where we even have the industrial park, we're having a PPP, which some people are looking at because of the river, because of the water just by the side, to see how to create a different city there. So all those who left Cross River before are all back. That is why when we came into government, a plot of land in Calabar was about 9 million. But today, you can hardly get a prime line 40 million. You can't. Very, very difficult. That's to show in terms of growth where we are today, but it also gives us a signal that there's need for immediate expansion. So we are looking at that in the second term. We've already done what I would call the homework. Facilities, what is remaining is just to create infrastructures in the different locations. Some that have been up as a result of courtesy of the New Hope agenda and so on and so forth. We're already creating routes to those points to make sure that they connect in every way from a manner. So yes, we are looking at the estates, developing estates, very, very important, and some urbanization and some city towns around the place. We are really looking up to that because it's very clear that Calabar is going to be bigger than what you see now. And like you mentioned about tourism, Cross River is undoubtedly the best tourism destination now. Our carnival, they just finished London Expo that finished. Carnival was number 2 in terms of attraction to different booths. Our carnival was number 2. So that tells you the figures. And we have digitalized the carnival in a way and manner that we will now have Netflix and other organizations who are interested to come on board very seriously. And we're even trying to make sure that we do not monopolize judgment anymore. So we allow participating bands, supporters, and people to also have a say in whatever result will be the final result of whoever wins whatever award that we're going to talk about. But in all this, it's very clear because the last carnival we had, the city couldn't contain the crowd. It was very, very clear that apart from making sure that Obudu is top-notch, we must have the communal elite, we must have all the Abuke Falls, all the other attractions on the way because some people were beginning to look for further attractions in addition to the carnival itself. So we've gotten to that stage which we have to develop these attractions and give it the kind of ambience that is required to attract these visitors, because some of those attractions have been there for centuries, and these are solid materials you cannot find anywhere, just in Cross River State. Like the Obudu Ranch, that's the only. I've not gone to. I've traveled around. I've not seen one so much like that, which you can actually get into the sky and come out, and it was like that. So
with Obudu Ranch, this is just me chipping in. The ranch had lost its steam, even though it's a natural. But in your administration, and this is not to be patronizing, I see that when I go online, visitors are coming in. The attraction, you see, there's gusto. People are enthused to go to the ranch now, and I'm saying this as somebody who's lived through different administrations across River State. So we see that there's the verve coming back, and so Your Excellency, you pay attention. That Obudu Cattle Ranch is bringing people from outside across Nigeria. So please, Your Excellency, if you could put in more, pump in there some life, with your leadership. I'm sure that we will be good for it by the next 4 years, Your Excellency. And now the carnival and all of the tourism, and I'm hoping that it will contribute significantly to our economy as a state.
Oh yes.
Boosts, our clothing and the fashion industry, costume making, iron bending, the
Right.
DJs, and all of that. It pumps into the economy.
It does.
Yes, it does pump into the economy significantly. So, Your Excellency, this is now a very personal question. I know that this is me talking off the top of my head, that His Excellency, after being governor, is not going to be looking to go to another office. So
No.
this is a legacy office for you. That is being the governor. This is your legacy as the man, Senator Prince Bassey Edet too. The one thing that I, as a citizen, I like to say that I brag about that a lot, a tax-paying citizen. If you tell me go to your mother's side, I'll go to Cross River. Go to your father's side, I'll go to Cross River. I don't have any other states I can rub off to my ancestors. Maybe that's why I'm so proud about being a Cross River. That is to say,
Can not forget your roots.
Yes, I can. That is to say that I'm talking to you as a citizen, and I'm holding you to say, Your Excellency, this is your legacy. After all that you have done, that Cross River State, what is your vision for the state? When you sit down, before I give my commitment, what do you want to make out of Cross River State after your second tenure, by the grace of God?
Well, I know very well that the future belongs to God and they decide. But I would say that power belongs to God, and my coming to be governor of Cross River State was not by my power or might. It was probably from what I'm seeing, a divine intervention that I should emerge as the time I did. What I owe the state is my best in terms of service delivery. At my age, I don't think I'm ready for any of those, what I would call distractions or enjoyment or things like that. There's nothing what I've not seen over the years. So my focus is to make sure that Cross River State, by the time I leave, should be one of the frontline states, both in terms of productivity, both in terms of peace of mind, both in terms of people being happy and proud about where they come from. Well, I grew up in Cross River State. I know how it used to be. It was the first capital of the Federal Republic of Nigeria before somehow it went to elsewhere. I want to see that capital again, even though we cannot change it again from Abuja to take it to Cross River, but let it reflect, let people see it, because it's not until it wears a name that it will be what it should be. By the time people see a total change, that is why most of the things I'm doing are foundational, but I'm doing to meet an integration of all the aggregates at a point where one will complement each other, where the state will be a real state, both in terms of focus, in terms of direction, in terms of everything that happens, where every child that goes will also know that can have the opportunity to be anything in Nigeria, not just in Cross River State. That target, those dreams are quite high. You cannot attain those dreams without making sure that almost every sector is working. That is the challenge. But I can give you every assurance that by the time we get there, all these places will be working. It will be a frontline stage where we can look at and compare with other subnationals, not just in Nigeria, but elsewhere, and say, look, there's a quantum leap here. Those people have moved forward. That I can give you reassurance.
Yeah, and Cross Riverians are behind you.
Thank
And
you.
we are wishing you all the best and
Thank you
hoping
very
that your
much.
team, it doesn't take the governor alone to do it, that the team working with you gives you all the necessary support to ensure that the quantum leap becomes a materialization and we live it in our lifetime. So thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank
And
you.
we are counting on you to leave a legacy that will impact on not just our lives, but our children's
Thank you.
life
Thank
as
you.
well. Thank you so much. Have the grace, the courage, and the strength to move Cross River State forward. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it so
Thank you.
much. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Excellency.
Thank you.
So that's it,
God
His
bless.
Excellency, the Governor of Cross River State, the very distinguished Senator Prince Bassey Edet too. We sat down to have a conversation on issues. But beyond this conversation, as a tax-paying citizen of Cross River State, I hope to get into the state on a very leisurely note to see some of the things that His Excellency has spoken about. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency.
God bless you.